Hi, I'm Jodi Barrows, and I want to welcome you to our brand new daily video blog, where each day I will be giving you tips and hints. I will try to motivate you and educate you and just help you down the patchwork path of least resistance. The square to square technique has been around for 15 to 20 years now, so we're needing a little bit of a facelift. So this year we've gone back in and reworked and repackaged the 4 rulers that we have. And the first one that we did the repackaging on is the 4-patch ruler. And the difference now in our new 4-patch ruler, it still does the same thing, is that we've added some frosting and some non-skid on it to help you so that you don't have the glare, and also to help you so that it doesn't slide around or skid around too much. And then we've added some patterns into a little book that goes with it. So now when you get the 4-patch ruler, you get this nice book in here. It has about 24 pages in it. It has 6 patterns with all the directions that you need to make the quilts that are in here, and just gives you more information to go with when you have the ruler right there ready to go. So many rulers out there in the quilt world are not packaged with any directions or any instructions of any kind, and I really want to try to give you the best that I can, and so I decided to put some little patterns and quilts in a nice book when you buy the ruler so that you're ready to go. Now, the square to square system takes the hassle out of the triangle units, and that's what I've been teaching and doing for almost 20 years now professionally, and I actually did the square and square for years before I actually brought it out. And what the square and square does is it helps take the hassle out of the triangle units. And what we do, what I try to think about when I make quilts and design things is that I want to take the human element out, because the human element is where we have the cutting and the sewing, and that's where we lose our perfection. So I want to be able to do all of my cutting and sewing in one form, and then lay the magic ruler on there to trim it up and get my perfect unit, even though I've had the speed at producing the product. Because let's face it, lots of times when you have speed, you lose your accuracy. So I want the speed and the accuracy, and I want to be able to get my quilts finished in a good time. So, you hear my puppies barking? The neighbors across the street are probably walking a dog, and so mine are going crazy thinking something's going on out there. But that's what you're going to see here in the daily video blog, is just life in the studio the way that we really do it. So, let's get down to talking about the 4-patch ruler. Once again, we want to take the human element out, and the human element is the cutting and the sewing and the pressing of a block. And that's where we lose our perfection. So with the 4-patch ruler, when we sew our long strips together, you know, it's kind of like driving down that long straight road. You just kind of weave in between. But when you have long strips that you sew together, you don't always sew as nice and straight as what you really should, and therefore your pieces kind of start to weave along. Now with a traditional ruler, when you go in here to trim it up, you'll know that you're getting the width correctly as you go in and cut the hunks, but you don't have a clue if the separation of the blocks and the length of the block. We got some, if you haven't met my pups yet, my little girl Yorkie is Paisley, obviously a fabric quilting name, and my little guy, the big one there, that's Cotton, and they're brother and sister, and they're going to be 3 years old this summer. And it's probably late in the afternoon if you see this going on. They're up from their naps and they're wrestling around on the fabric, and they are true patchwork and quilting dogs. So you're going to see a little action of them as they have their little 15-minute romp here. But let's get back to the 4-patch ruler again. And this is going to be the fun part of the daily video blog, is that we're not going to stop and shut down a professional production unless something horrible is happening, like a tornado's coming through or something. But this is just how I work in the studio all the time. So, you have your 4-patch ruler, and with a traditional ruler, you know that you're cutting the correct width for your hunk as you go along. But you don't have a clue if each section is the length and the width that you want, or if your ruler is shifting one way or the other. And you go in and you make these cuts, and you get these pieces, and you go to your machine and try to start putting some of them together. And you don't know if they're too long, too short, you know, and you come up with these 4-patches, and you try to put them in your quilt, and you're thinking, it's just a 4-patch, why can't I get this right? Well, it's back to that human element. The reason why that we have trouble with it is that a square has 4 sides to cut and 4 sides to sew. So one square has 8 human elements in it. So if you're trying to get a 4-patch together, 4 times 8 is 32. One 4-patch has 32 human elements in it. And when you think about it that way, it should make you feel better because you're thinking, well, no wonder that they're not all perfect. There's 32 human elements in there. So the 4-patch and 9-patch ruler and the square and a square rulers will help you eliminate that human element so that you can get your speed and accuracy. So when you sew your two strips together, you'll take the heavy grid line on the ruler and you'll just put it down that seam on the middle. And you'll just make a good, nice cleanup cut, just like we do when we cut any of our strips. And you'll want to either turn it around, walk around, if you have a board that spins, turn it around so that you can start cutting off of that cleanup cut. Now put your heavy grid line here on that seam once again, and then just maneuver the ruler until either to the left or to the right, sliding the line down until it fits inside the appropriate blocks or the rectangle. And as soon as it lines up inside here and your grid line stays here, that's your key, your grid line needs to stay on that seam and it should fit inside here. Then you can make your cut. And if it's a good block, if everything looks perfect, the width, the length, and each section is good, then when you take it out, you're going to put it in the good stack. And as you go in and cut, each time placing the heavy grid line on the seam and the fabric inside the appropriate rectangle, making your cut. If it's a good piece, put it in the good stack. If it's a fudgeable piece, meaning one that you can get to work, put it in the next stack. And if it's totally off and really bad, then just put it way over here and don't use it. And I always say in my classes and in my lectures that I don't go back and try to take that piece apart, rip it apart, and put it back together again. I just think that once you take fabric apart and put it back together, and if the squares aren't really square, then you're wasting your time because you're not going to get two good pieces back together again. I use the funny little story that if you rip something out and try to put it back together again, it's like marrying the same person twice. And if it didn't work the first time, what makes you think that after you do this to it, it's going to work any better the second time to match and mold together? So lots of times I don't waste my time on pieces of taking them apart and putting them back together again unless it's really, really necessary. Now also the 4-patch and 9-patch rulers are design tools. They have a nice design element to it. So many times we get little pieces of fabric, maybe they're layer cakes, we get all this fabric cut in certain things nowadays, and it's nice to know what to do with them and how to take what we've got and add to it. So maybe you've got a little sample charm pack that are 5-inch squares, and maybe you want to match it up to a 4-patch. You can use the rulers as design tools, as design elements also. Now, when you're looking at the ruler where you can read it, on the left side, up at the top, it says the width of the cut strip. So all of these numbers on the left side are referring to the width of a cut strip. And then on the far right, it says the cut size of the sewn patches. So that tells you what size of 4-patch it will be with raw edges on it when you get them cut apart and sewn back together again. So let's say that you've got some of those nice rolls or bundles of fabric and they have a 2.5-inch strip in them. And you want to know, well, what size of 4-patch will this make if I sew these 2.5-inch strips together? So go to the left side where it says width of the cut strip, it's 2.5 inches. Find it in here where it says 2.5 inches. And then stay inside these little railroad tracks going all the way around to the far right side of your ruler, and it tells you what size these will be cut with raw edges when you get your 4-patch all sewn together. So that way it helps you design. You have a quick reference as to what you need or what you will get when you use what you have. And I think that once you look at your rulers, that you'll see that it's all right there. So many times we have what we need just right here at our fingertips, but we don't know how to use it. So that's going to be part of what my daily video blog will be, is teaching you to use what you have or helping you to improve where you're at with whatever it is that you're working with. Now, I talked about how the ruler comes with a nice 24-page book in it, and so I just wanted to quickly show you some of the quilts that are in there, and it just so happens that these are all made from the Celebrating Abe fabric collection that I have. And if you don't know about the Celebrating Abe fabric, there's 36 pieces in it, and you can see them all on the website. There's JPEGs of all of them with numbers underneath, and a lot of the quilt kits that we have that you can also see on the website are made from this new fabric collection called Celebrating Abe. So this first one here is called Battlefield, and you have a simple option 1 in your quilt. Hopefully you already know about the square and square system and know how easy this is. We will on other daily video blogs go into the options of the square and square system and show you how to do cutting and sewing on those. But here's just a simple option 1 that you're going to make the most simplest thing. You can see them on any of our 30-minute long classes that are here on the website with just the simple 4-patch right next to it, and the quilt you just sew those together in rows and then alternate them, and you've got a great quilt. And then we've also just used them in the border. And all of these are kitted up. You can go right to the website. You can see this one called Battlefield. They come in nice little kits. Underneath it, it tells you everything about them. And like this one is for 30 bucks. So most of the quilts in the 4-patch ruler are just pretty inexpensive and easy to get started with. Now this one here is called Call to Battle, and it once again has a 4-patch here with a solid square next to it, and then you use another 4-patch and make a 4-patch, a big 4-patch out of your little 4-patches. And then these red triangles on the side is just option 5 of the square and square system, where you put anything in the middle, sew around it with your strips and trim it up. And then just a simple skinny little sashing with a black setting stone and just a simple the Abe Lincoln medallion heads as the border. So a real simple quilt. This one would be great done in pastels and used as a baby quilt. It's a perfect size and just 33 bucks. Now this one we've had longer than the other two, and it is a free pattern on the website called Bugle Boy. So you can download the pattern right now for this, and it also of course uses a Celebrating Abe. You can see it here in the blue fabrics. I want to point out this tan with the little blue star on it. This has been a really popular print in the Celebrating Abe, and one of my favorites, and just a great background and blender. And then we have just the simple star, the option 3 flying geese with the 4-patch in the middle, and with the color coordination of the squares going through. When you hold the quilt up and see all of it, you can see how this green just runs right through the quilt. This has been a great kit. We usually sell out of it at every show that we go to. And we are kind of at the end of some of the pieces for this one. So if you're thinking about wanting this one, you might want to get to it on the website and get it ordered right away. And it is a $50 kit. This one is called Dove in the Window. It also uses the great burn on a vine fabric, but this time in the red. It's the tan with the red, and then you can see the solid red with the blue bird on it. Once again, just a bigger 4-patch set together in a 4-patch setting with the red squares going around for option 1. All of these in this book would make perfect and wonderful baby gifts. They're simple, they're fast, they're speedy, and they're a great size for a baby quilt. You know, there's only a few things that you need to make a baby quilt. Of course, you need a baby to give it to, but you need a speedy quilt, because I always say you want to give it to them when they're a baby and not as a graduation quilt. And then you just need fabric that makes it a baby quilt, a novelty fabric or pastels, or something that's indicative of what you think that little child will do and be when he grows up, maybe baseball players or something. Now this one is called Road to Richmond, and this is a really nice, I'm going to say a small lap size one, or a big baby quilt, maybe a toddler quilt. But once again, we've just taken the 4-patch, use our 4-patch ruler to whip them up really fast, and a simple option 1. We've set them together on point so that the rows go at an angle. We get our extra little triangles in the side, 2 great simple borders, and voila, you're done with it really quick. So I hope you've enjoyed our first daily video blog. That's just a little bit of what we're going to do each time. You're going to see life in the studio as it is. You'll see what we're working on, what's coming up. If you have any questions or anything that you would like for me to do on the daily video blog, I would love for you to email me, and the next time we film, I will just show exactly what we did to help that person. Anytime you have questions or need help, please call or email us. We're happy to help, whether it's figure fabrics, whether it's help you with your options when you're trying to adapt another pattern to the square and square system. Maybe you're trying to figure flying geese borders or whatever it is. We can help you in just a matter of minutes, and it would be great for me to show exactly how we did that with our daily video blog. Actually helped a lady on the phone this morning with a border, showed her how easy it was to figure what sizes of flying geese she needed to go on her quilt that she was working on. She just had a simple panel that she had bought and was making a baby quilt, wanted to add flying geese border on it, and in just a couple of minutes we had her all fixed up on the phone, and by now today she's probably got that border on and already done. So once again, send us what you want to see on here and we'll get it to you just as soon as we can, video through the website. So I hope you've enjoyed it and we'll see you next time.